right, it's your brother Zion Lex. Sign up for our online academy, which is Learn Torah Hebrew Academy at patreon.com/Learn Torah. There are several classes that we offer. We offer a Biblical Hebrew 101 class for beginners. We have a Biblical Hebrew 102 class for people who are a little bit more advanced. We also have a weekly Torah class. We also have our Patriarchs of the Covenant course, our Matriarchs of the Covenant course, and a bi-weekly rabbinical course. All of these courses can be found on Patreon. Again, that's patreon.com/Learn Torah. You guys are definitely in for it. It's a very invasive class. All of our classes are deeply invasive and very, very meticulous to the T when it comes to understanding the culture, the heritage, and the history of our ancient ancestors. So sign up for Biblical Hebrew at patreon.com/Learn Torah. I am your brother, Zion Lex.
Caribbean Kitchen, Foods offer 7 unique blends of premium, low-sodium Jamaican seasoning that will add a burst of flavor to your dishes. Our authentic, all-natural Jamaican seasonings are a game changer when it comes to adding a burst of flavor to your dishes. Our products are kosher, all-natural, contains ingredients that are gluten-free and GMO-free. Our seasonings are handcrafted with the highest quality ingredients. We source our ingredients from the Caribbean to capture the authentic taste of the islands. Unleash your creativity in the kitchen and savor the taste of the Caribbean with our spice blends.
All right. I want to say shalom and peace to you, my brother. We are about to have yet again another marvelous, amazing interview. You are here with us today to talk about the keys to writing grants and small business loans, something that many in our community see value in and know that we can benefit. I think we all understand at the heart of it all that the key to Black liberation is in part tapping into economics. It cannot be avoided, right? We have been a community for so long that has been disenfranchised in part due to us not having a hold in that arena and not having the know-how to be able to play on that playing field. And so I introduced my brother, and I have the honor once again of introducing my brother, CEO and business coach Vaughn Parker. Shalom and peace to you, my brother. How you doing this morning?
Shalom to you, my brother. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come back and talk with our people about business, about economics, grant writing, and some of the steps needed to approach a bank to request or apply for a business loan. I just want to say to our audience as we dive in, I want you to prepare your hearts and your minds to take some notes. This is a session where I'll be giving out a lot of information, and I don't want you to miss it. And we're coming from a place of strategic growth. Both Zion Lex and I, we have a passion to see our people grow. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure if he's aware, but we're sworn by oath as Jamaicans to take care of our own people, to empower our own people. And although he may not have learned the pledge, his dad probably did, but in Jamaica, we have a pledge that starts off that says, before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the courage, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body. Why? So that we can empower our own people. We make this pledge to all citizens. We pledge ourselves to ensure that our people are built up. And it goes on to say, I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, so that our people can move forward. Goes on to say, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, so that Jamaica, can play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. So we have a lofty task as the diaspora to make sure that our people are advancing.
Excellent. Thank you for that. So just before you go into your presentation to demonstrate for us that which is necessary for grant writing and coming into small business loans and just having a general understanding of what it takes to run, operate, and establish a business, could you first inspire us with some words of encouragement? Why do you think that more of our people post COVID-19 should be moving in a direction towards entrepreneurship. Is there anything that you can lend us as words of wisdom and enlightenment in that direction?
Absolutely, absolutely. So with the advent of COVID-19, a lot of people had to face a lot of restrictions, and as Ivrim has awakened Hebrews, we realized that some of the mandates that were imposed upon our people caused us to suffer financially, where there were restrictions on operating hours. Some people lost their job because they didn't want to take the jab. And you also notice that some business went out, they closed their doors. So people lost income. When you're in business for yourself, you're able to control your own income. And I told my mom a few years back, they were letting some people go on her job, and it was during COVID as well, and she was a bit concerned. I said, Mom, the only way for you to ensure that you're employed is if you work for yourself, because when you work for yourself, no one can fire you.
That's right.
No one can
That's
fire
right.
you. So we encourage people to tap in. Also, from a growth standpoint, from a mindset, it's really to make that shift. Why are you going to give? And again, it's based on where you're calling it. So I don't want to tell people just to walk away from their job, but why are you willing to give 40, 80 hours to someone else to help build their empire, help build their kingdom, while you have gifts and talents that the Creator has given you that you can use to empower yourself and empower your own people? A lot of us really have this mindset, and some of it does come from slavery. We just have to be honest, where we are so dependent on a job, where we feel like the American dream, or for you to be successful, and even how we qualify success, is for you to make a six-figure income. Or, some of us are so loyal to our job that we're not even demonstrating that same level of loyalty to our family. So working for yourself does give you a sense of time freedom, where you can spend time with your family, spend time enjoying what the Creator has placed on earth for you to enjoy, and not just be in this mindset, this plantation mindset, where you have to work yourself to the ground. We have to think differently as a people. We are so fixated on a six-figure income, some of us, that we fail to realize that it's possible to go up to seven figures or even 8 figures. The possibilities are endless once you put in place all the necessary steps. As a people, we sometimes rehearse the curses, but we should now begin to rehearse the blessings, that if we do these things, all these blessings should come upon us. So we look at Deuteronomy chapter 28, and we look at the first few verses, I believe from 1 to 15, then from 16 onward, it's talking about the blessings. Now that we're covenant keeping, we're Torah observant, we should now begin to walk in the blessings. And the Most High has already said that He will do it, but we have to do our part. And that's what we're here to do, help people know what to do so they can get to the next level.
Thank you for saying that. That's very impressive. I say impressive because, again, in our community, the people who go on to become entrepreneurs mostly are, unfortunately, people who are already established with capital. Like, you'll see an entertainer then go and open a business, and an athlete, sports athlete, your favorite rappers. And that comes from, I think, this ideology among our people that you have to already have the established capital to do it, because we live in an era where everything is microwaved. Literally and figuratively. You pop food in the microwave and it's ready within seconds, minutes, right? Years ago, that took hours, right? So we live in an age where information is microwaved, and people expect that the process itself should also be microwaved. So people don't want to go through the process of letting blood, sweat, and tears drain from their work. They rather have the quick fix. So everybody's waiting until they become a famous athlete, which might not happen for a lot of people, a famous rapper, entertainer, which might not happen for a lot of people. And then they say, when I get that, then I'm going to do it. So again, just before your presentation, talk to us about the feasibility and the reality of starting your own business venture from scratch without necessarily having the capital, which at the heart is at the gist of this conversation we're having.
Yeah. So self-funding, bootstrapping, and angel investors are the top three ways to ensure that you position yourself to start your business without going out into the deep and getting venture capitalists involved where they're going to take a major portion of your business. So when it comes to self-funding, and I have some of this in the presentation and we'll get to it, it's really betting on yourself. We think about our economy, and it is said that the black dollar only circulates within our community for at least 7 hours, or even maybe less than that. So we have to make a shift in our mind when it comes to our spending. We cannot continue just to be only a consumer driven community where we are the buyers or we're the spenders. So saving your money is one of the key things, meaning you have to cut back on some things. We have to dial it back a bit. I know we're in an era where everyone wants to kind of show what they have going on, and hey, I'm vacationing here, and I'm in the Louis store, over in the Gucci store. All that is good, but sometimes we have to dial it back to save up enough money to start, and starting small. We cannot be overwhelmed by the lofty plans that we have developed and say, you know what, I'm not going to start because I don't have it yet. Start with what you have. I'm a big proponent of progress over perfection. Some people wait so long, more Zion Lakes, and they're like, I don't have all the capital. I need 250,000 to start. But what can you start now? Even if you don't have the 250,000, what can you start now? What can you do today? Sometimes it may require for you to sell a few things. Some of us, and again, we have been tremendously blessed as we compare to other demographic. We have, as a people, we have some of us have more than what we've ever had. Sometimes it's having a yard sale, selling some things and getting some things started, making sure that you're talking to people who have an understanding that, hey, if you lend me a few $100 or a few $1,000, it may take a while before I can generate that back to you. So it's really starting with what you have. Everything we have, Morris and Lex, is within us, and not to just kind of beat up on some of the cliches we see within the text. But when Moshe went before the Most High, and he was, trying to backpedal out of his call, the Most High said, "What do you have in your hand?" He said, "I have a staff." You have everything you need. All you have to do is apply those principles. Use what you have. We live in an information age. We live in a digital age, and I see people baking, creating a video. And before you know it, they're just by creating a video, you automatically move in the realm of becoming a content creator. Share what you have, share your gift with the world, and things will begin to fall in place. Money will begin to generate once you step out. But first, you have to make that step. Having everything in-house, locked up, waiting for that big grant to come through or that loan to come through will not work. You have to work to make progress every single day.
I totally agree. On that note, we're gonna get ready, gear up for your presentation. So the first one I'm going to share is your basic business basic startup program, and here we go. Okay. I am your eyes, your ears, and I am your assistant. So just let me know what you'd like me to do.
All right. No, this is perfect. This is perfect. So we can move to the next slide. All right. So one of the things that a lot of people are unaware of is how to even start. You're frustrated with your 9 to 5. You hate going to work every day. You get that feeling in the gut of your stomach when you realize that, hey, the weekend is over and it's Monday, I have to clock in. And you want to try entrepreneurship. You want to try it on your own. You want to see if you can make something work, but you have to start. So identifying your business idea. This may take some brainstorming sessions to kind of think through what are your natural gifts, what are your natural talents, to see if you can leverage that or turn that into a business. So first you look internally. Morris Alex said something very important earlier, where he said that most people live in this microwave mindset where they want it now. Listen, I'm going to tell you this: stay away from the get rich quick opportunities.
That's right.
All these
That's right.
people hitting you up in your inbox telling you how much you can make. And again, I am not here to put down any area of business. I'm just here to deal with reality. Not everyone is going to be good at doing day trading. Not everyone is going to be doing good at Bitcoin. Not everyone is going to do good in multi-level marketing. That may not be your lane. So find your lane. Find something that you know you can do, something that you're passionate about. Don't spend your time chasing the bag, because that puts you in a position where you get easily frustrated if it's not working within the first 2 or 3 months. You're ready to switch. Business takes time, but overall, look at something that you can see yourself doing for a long period of time. I tell people all the time, Maurice and Alex, when it comes to business and finding something you're passionate about, ask yourself this question: am I willing to do this even if no one paid me for it? Does this give me a sense where I feel fulfillment? Because again, if you're just chasing the bag, there may come a time where you hate the business, but you love the money. We cannot love profit over purpose.
That's right.
When we talk about who we are as a people and it comes to self-awareness, we first have to know who we are. We have to be honest with ourselves and ask ourselves, is this something I can see myself doing long term? Then you need to do market research. You can think you have a great idea. You may think you have a great product and you can love it, but will other people feel the same about it? So you have to do market research to see, is this something that is in demand? Is this something, a niche that I am going to pursue? So first, have an idea and do some research to see if there's an area of interest with what you're thinking about pursuing. Next slide.
All right, here we go.
Then you need to decide your legal structure. The last time I was on, I spoke to this a little bit in terms of scaling. How big do you want to scale this? Do you just want this to be like a side hustle? Do you want it to be small where it's manageable, or do you want to go large? Depending on how large you want to go, that will determine the right legal structure that you need to choose. Is this something that you're doing with a family member, a friend? Is it a joint venture? Is it a partnership? Is it a sole proprietorship? I think the most common that we see within our community is a limited liability corporation, LLC. You need to know the impact from a tax standpoint. You need to know the impact that if you get sued, whether or not they're going to come after your personal income or they're going to try to get something from the business. Also, if you pass away, will the business dissolve, or will the business be passed on to another entity? Also, if you decide to, turn the business over or sell the business, the kind of structure you choose is important. So we can move to the next slide.
Okay.
Develop a market strategy. So this is something that most of us are unaware of when it comes to moving the business forward. So you can have a great product. A lot of people love it. Great service. People are raving about it. But what is your strategy to get the word out? What is your strategy to ensure that others are aware of it? Great products sometimes die in people's garage because a lack of marketing. And we need a strategy. How are we going to market? Are we going to market through creating Facebook ads, Instagram ads? Are we going to go live every day and talk about our people? How are we going to garner people's attention in a competitive world where on Instagram, on TikTok, people only spend an average of 30 seconds looking at any given video? We live in an entertainment society where people want to be entertained more than they want to be educated. So what can you do to create that appeal where people want to watch your video, people want to look at your product? So that's something that is important and critical when we think about our business. How are we going to market this? Just creating your business, starting your business, and sitting back, that's not enough. You have to work, you have to grind, you have to do things every single day to make sure that you keep it in front of your potential, your prospective customer or client. Next slide. So how to start? Create a business plan. This is very fundamental. If it's in your head, it's good, but you need to write it. You need to write it down. again, not to pull too much cliches, but if it's not written, sometimes it's not remembered. I'm going to say that again. If it's not written, it's not remembered. We have so much going on that if we don't take time to write it down, it's not something that we can easily reference. Writing things down makes it easy to be referenced. I thank the Most High for the written biblical text, because I know it was orally passed down for a number of years, but the time came, they're like, listen, we have to write this down. We have to write this down. We have to document it. Once it's documented, it's easy to be referenced. It also helps you to see where you're going. And there are a few things that you need in your business plan. We'll talk about that a little bit later on towards the end, how we can help you with your business plan. There's a certain structure, and your business plan is very important and plays a critical role in you approaching a bank or applying for a grant. Next slide. Register your business. All right. As a people, we have to do better. This bootleg stuff, this under the table stuff, we have to stop. We have to make sure that we are legit.
That's right.
We have to make sure that we are legit. So we have to make sure that our business is registered. There are few companies that can help you, but most importantly, you can do it yourself. Morris Alex, let me pause here and say this to our audience. When it comes to business, you're going to spend one of two things. You're either going to spend time or you're going to spend money. A lot of things that are available to us, it's going to require our time to step away from social media, step away from the TV, step away from Netflix, and just really bury our heads either in a book or on a website to learn, or going and talking to people. You have to get out of your house. I think COVID did something to us that caused most people to become homebodies due to the lockdown. We have to get out and have conversation with real people so that we can get the help that we need. So when it comes to your business, you have to clock in every day.
All right. That's
you got to
right.
clock in every day. You got to show up every day. But the most important thing in making sure that you have everything in place is to get to the position where if you're called upon, you have everything ready. You have everything ready. We can get back to the slides, Maury. So registering your business, again, you're either going to spend time or you're going to spend money. If you have the capital to pay someone to do it, that's great. But a lot of things that are required, you can do yourself. Setting up your finance. This is one of our biggest challenges in the community, how we look at money. Do we understand money? Do we even understand how money works? A lot of us do not understand how the dollar works. We live in a capitalistic society, but we don't understand the fundamentals of how money works. And our adversary, I will say that, and those who are against us as a people group take advantage of that. They take advantage of the fact that you don't know how money works. We have a lot of people, and I hear it sometimes because I'm in different forums, more as Alex, where people say, I know I'm making the money, but I don't know where it's going. A lot of our people don't even have a budget.
Emphasize for us, if just but for a moment, exactly what you mean when you say a lot of our people don't know how money works. That can go over the head. So just kind of exemplify and highlight exactly what you mean when you say a lot of people don't necessarily understand that.
Sure thing. So when we think about how does money work, there are two things that you must understand when it comes to finances. Banks and lending institutions, they look at money different when it comes to lending. They're looking to make money work for them, meaning they're lending and they're collecting an interest. We as a people, we're so consumer driven that we invest a lot of our dollars into things that are considered liabilities versus investing our money in things that are considered assets. So some people They purchase homes because it can accumulate equity versus renting. So when you think about how money works, do you want to work for your money, or do you want your money to work for you? And you can look at this a few ways. And again, having that mindset of, can I put my money to work in a market where it's gaining interest, whether it's through an IRA, whether it's through an index fund, or whether it's through an investment mechanism. We can't have this mindset of kicking the can down the road and say, well, when tomorrow comes, I'll deal with it. I'm living for the now. Some people have this mindset, I'm going to live my best life now. You only live once, the YOLO mindset. So we are bigger spenders than we are investors. So understanding
true.
how money works and some of the tools that can be used so that your money can work for you. Another thing I'll throw out there, and this is not the purpose of this broadcast, but since we're on the topic of money, it is incumbent upon us for us to leave an inheritance for those who will come after us. This is a Torah-based principle. But so many of our people, unfortunately, when they pass away, we have to do a GoFundMe.
Yep.
When I was in the insurance business, Maurice and Lex, I would go to our community, and it was hard for some of our people to buy a $10,000 policy to take care of the very minimum for their final expense. I've heard some of our people say, when I'm dead, I don't want these ends to get nothing because no one left me nothing. So instead of us being trendsetters, instead of us breaking the cycle of poverty, we are continuing that cycle where, because mama them didn't leave nothing for me, daddy them didn't leave nothing for me, I'm not going to leave anything for my kids. When I would go into some of the prominent neighborhoods of people who are a little bit more educated and some people who understood how money worked, they were taking out $1 million policies. And they were saying, when I die, I want my grandchildren to have something.
Come on. That's right.
So
that's right.
That's a microcosm in terms of how money works, more as Zion Lex. You can either work for your money or you can let your money work for you.
That is absolutely right. Thank you for sharing that. That is absolutely right. As we forward to the next slide.
Absolutely. So secure funding, we're going to spend some time talking about this a little bit more. But when you think about your business, you have to know what's your funding source. And this has to do with your budget, developing a budget and say, okay, how much do I need? I did an assignment when I was in business school in coming up with a Jamaican fast food restaurant. At the time, there really weren't a whole lot around. When I say fast food, I'm talking about like Burger King, where you don't have to necessarily go in the restaurant and stand and wait. And I had to do some marketing research, and it kind of blew my mind because I didn't know it cost approximately $2.5 million just to start up a viable and appealing restaurant that can be scaled. So with that being said, you have to know, where am I going to get $2.5 million from? How am I going to get this money? And this is where understanding the funding mechanism and how they work. Am I going to go to investors? Am I going to do a pop-up on Shark Tank? And we can talk about that a little later, because Shark Tank just won't take everybody. You have to have everything lined up, and you have to have your forecast, your financial forecast of what you need and how you plan to spend it. Banks, investors, lenders, they're not just going to give you money because they like you and you smile, real good, and you have a good talk. They want to see the numbers.
That's right.
This is probably old, but as I said, money talk and the rest of stuff walk.
That's right. You're right. And we need to hear that type of reality, because, through Netflix, through TV, social media, a lot of us live in a fantasy world that is not the real world. And so we need this kind of real conversation in real time. So again, you are greatly appreciated.
Hallelujah. All right. So next slide. So build a strong team. As much as great you are, multi-talented as you are, I am a multi-talented person. I do graphic design. I've been working with Maurice Alex for a number of years for his flyers
That's a
and
fact.
others within the community. Do logos. You know, I wear many hats.
I got to stop for a moment to say that if you guys have enjoyed my flyers over the year, you have yours truly to thank for that. Many of the amazing flyers that you guys see me showcase, our brother has made. In fact, I want to show him something that he may not know. So just give me a couple seconds. So what's I my apologies everyone. So with some of the very first flyers that you made for me, I went and had life-size images of them reproduced. You know, this was one of the very first flyers that you made for me. And I remember you saying, "You want that one? The one with like the mask? You want that one?" I said, "Yeah, I want that one." You said, "All right, that's gonna stand out." And then the one that I've really come to enjoy over the years, even though there's now a more updated one, you also made this one for me.
Wow.
So when I do book signings locally, I take this with me. And I may also take the YouTube banner. So again, just a note to everyone, when you see the flyers that I've put out over the years, many of them have been produced by Brother Vaughn Parker. So, you know, again, I can confirm he wears many hats.
Indeed, indeed. So in terms of you needing a team, so as multi-talented as you are, you cannot be the CEO, you cannot be the marketing director, you cannot be the HR director, you cannot be the director of strategic management, you cannot be the director of communication, you cannot be the director of customer service, and I can go on and on. So you need a team. You may start out small where you can do a lot, but as you grow your business, you're going to need people around you. Not only that, you need to identify what their roles are. Sometimes we're so passionate about our business because it's our baby that
Right.
we're not willing to trust those who we have hired to do the job. So I want to encourage those of you who are in business and you have people that work with you. I try not to say people who work for you because we're all in this together. We're just on different levels. The people who work with you, try not to micromanage them. Give them their autonomy. Let them grow. If they're messing up, that's something completely different. But you can't run the entire show by yourself. It will burn you out. Not only that, you'll start making mistakes. You'll start thinking that you had things done, or you'll start missing events. You'll start missing meetings. And if you had a team around you who you consider reliable and trustworthy, then just delegate. As leaders, we have to learn how to be better at delegating.
That's a fact.
And then launch your business. Once you've gone through all these steps, this is where you take your business to market and just enjoy the journey. I cannot tell you enough the importance of the journey, what you learn along the way. You can pay to learn. So there's educational learning and then there's experiential learning. The one that is most valuable is what we learn through experience. Anyone can sign up for a course and learn things educationally. I mean, I spent over $70,000 acquiring my bachelor's and my master's in business just to find out that I need experience. I have to get my feet wet. So experiential learning is valued even above educational learning, because again, you can pay for education, but what you pay to learn from an experience standpoint is immeasurable.
That's so very true. So very true.
I believe this is the last of this slide. So there are two things here I want to share, and I'll share a little bit more. Some of these slides do have links to take you out to get additional information, if you want to write a business plan, and if you want to learn more about what are some of the requirements for your business, we'll talk about some of those opportunities later. So now that we've covered some of the business basics, now let's talk about money. Let's talk about money, and specifically business funding. Business funding. So obtaining capital is one of the most difficult parts of a business startup, because again, you can have a great idea, but if you don't have money to go to market, it can be very challenging. So let's kind of go through some of the options, and then we'll hone in on grant writing to get to some of those areas that you need to know before you even apply for a grant. Next slide. All right, so self-financing. This is one of the first ones I talked about, where you're betting on yourself. You're using your own dollars. I talked about saving up your money, cutting back some, and starting small. Some people also tap their retirement. Not advised, but if that's the only option you have, it is your money. You have to pay a penalty. Again, you may not know this, but you will have to pay a penalty. You have to pay a penalty for early withdrawal, and then you have to pay a penalty when you file with the IRS. But again, you're using your money. What this does, it prevents you from giving up ownership of your business. When investors look at your business and they want to invest, they're going to ask for a share. They want some of your business. If you watch Shark Tank, and I told you we're going to circle back to Shark Tank, this is where the bid goes in, and some investors want 20%. That's kind of the average, but some want up to 40% or even 60%. At the end, by the time you reach 60%, you've lost decision-making power.
That's right. That's right. I mean, technically, it's no longer your business on paper.
That is correct. That is correct. So self-financing, you get to keep all of your equity. You bet on yourself. So if there's a loss, the bank cannot come after you and say, we need you to pay this money that we loaned you. So this is one of the advantages of self-financing. It's not for everyone, but it is the safest method when you're thinking about funding your venture. Next slide.
All right.
So bootstrapping. So this is where you're grinding. You're grinding. This is where you start off small with just a few products, or just reaching out to a few people, and you are selling your product or your service, and the money you're making, you're putting it directly back into the business. So you're growing. This is a growth method when it comes to funding your business. And again, you can have a yard sale to generate some cash. You can sell something online. You can make a video and just put it out there, and people will reach out to you if they find your service interesting, or if they want your product. But you're not taking the deep dive in terms of accruing a lot of funding to get started. This is where you're starting out very, very small. Each dollar you get, you put it back in your own business. You may borrow from a family or a friend, short-term loan, but this is where you're not contractually, although your intent is to pay it back, but contractually, if you default, your family and friend, you say, listen, I'm going through some rough times right now. I'll pay you when I can pay you. This is where you may use some of your income tax return. Yep, some of your income tax return. You don't have to go out and go shopping with it. You don't have to go on vacation with it. You can use some of your income tax return to start your business. This is a bootstrapping methodology. Some people take the equity out of their homes. I'm dropping a lot of information here. This is why it's important to understand how money works, because if you're renting, your money is going directly to the landlord and you're not accruing any equity. But if you're a homeowner, and if you've had your home for a few years and it has accrued equity, you can take out a line of credit from your home. Some people downsize. They sell their vehicle and buy a more economical vehicle, and they use some of those funds. Again, I'm dropping a lot of information here that you would generally have to pay for in workshops and seminars. You can sell your vehicle. downscale your vehicle, get something smaller, and use some of those funds. If you're really driven and you believe that this is it, there's sometimes you can do business and you're like, you know what, if it work out, it'll work out. But this right here, once you know that this is it, you're willing to take the risk to go to great lengths and depths to make sure that you do whatever is necessary to make it work. So this is bootstrapping. We can go to the next slide. Angel investors, these are people who invest in smaller niche business. Again, they're going to look to get something out of it. They're not just going to, because we see the word angel, it's not free. It's not free. They're going to look for a percentage on their return. If they're not taking any equity, you have to sign an agreement that you're going to pay them X amount over X amount of time so they can get their money back. So those are your angel investors. Next slide. Venture capital. So these are your sharks. These are large corporations or wealthy investors who look to invest in business where they can see it thrive. They see that the business is thriving. They know that they can get their money back. With lending in general, there's a level of risk. Some business fold. They just flop, and investors, they lose their money. It's one of the risks. But these venture capitalists, they're looking to make money, and they are willing to bring the bag. They'll do the $2.5 million, but they're going to get some share out of your company. And again, if it is a profitable company, if it's a well-known company, they may only want 2%, but 2% of what they're getting is worth millions. And this is where, Morzan, like sometimes these venture capital firms, they will want majority shares in your company. Some venture capital company take it as far as, we'll buy up most of the equity and we'll just pay you an annual salary. So when you think about your business, these are some of the things that you should evaluate. When you think about funding, these are the things that you should evaluate. Am I willing to take this risk to give up so much of my business that eventually I could be on the outside one day looking in?
Imagine that, with your baby at that, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Small business loan. So this is where you go to the bank or credit union or online lenders, and you put in an application. So this is where it becomes critical for you to have a business plan. This is where it's critical for you to have a financial system in place. So let me go back to financial system in place. You need a system of accounting. You need a software or something that can handle your accounting for you, that can give you reports at the end of each year, your profit loss statement, your balance sheet, your income statement. You need those statements, because when you go for a loan, your bank will want to see those. If you're not a legit business that have filed with the IRS, your bank may not even look at you. If you're not registered with the state as a legit business.
That's right.
Because you have some people who go with this narrative that you can hide where the money is going. And we've known a few celebrities that have done that, and it did not work well for them. It's public news. This is not slander or gossip. Wesley Snipes tried it. Chris Tucker tried it, and a few others have tried it, where you have some people who are trying to hide where the money is going. Listen, one thing about our counterparts, 9 out of 10 times they're going to find out.
That's right.
And it's going to come back to bite you. Also, work with people who are legit. I can't say this enough. This shady stuff, people rigging up applications to get loans, it's going to come back to bite you. A lot of our people are dealing with the backlash of some backroom person who rigged up an application for them to get a PPP loan.
I was waiting towards the end to ask you, but you introduced it. So I'm going to jump really quick and just ask you this because I know the people need this answer. There's some people right now that have a pending PPP loan or have abused it in the past. So I want to get the right knowledge out there now. Because of how PPP loans have been mishandled and misused widely, it has turned a lot of people off from even wanting to go that direction. So before we talk about the negative implications of the PP loan, could you first enhance us with and enlighten us with how beneficial, if beneficial at all, the PPP loan actually is, and then we can venture into talking about the implications of misusing it.
Absolutely. So it was very good in terms of allowing employers to keep people employed. So during the COVID time period, business slowed down tremendously for a lot of people, especially if you had a customer facing business where people had to physically come in. With the lockdown and people not being able to travel, a lot of business faced a downturn, a loss. So the PPP loan allowed employers to retain employees, so these people can get paid. So that was one of the major benefits of the PPP loan, to keep your business afloat. Keyword: your business.
That's right.
And I'll pause there more because it sounds like you have more questions.
Yeah, because I wanted to say on the topic of the PP loan again, because of the misuse of it, it has turned a lot of people off, and people are actually afraid to venture in that direction. So, can we come to you behind the scenes, and can you please leave information towards the end of this live stream? Can we come to you for personal management and just education about these concepts? Do you offer any of those services where people can come to you? Because having a master's degree in this general field is extremely helpful, and we would like to come where we feel comfortable, which is our own. So I want to know, on the topic of PP loan, is it possible for people to actually reach out directly to you? And if so, be sure to share your information on the live stream as to how people can directly reach out to you.
Absolutely. I'll share that towards the end. And yes, I do offer consulting as a part of my coaching business. So as you see my title, I'm also a business coach. So I do offer coaching, people who are starting their business, people who need help with their business, people who may need a little bit of a kick in the rear end in terms of needing motivation and inspiration to take things to the next level, holding people accountable, helping people develop a plan of action in what they need to do to get out of the situation they're in with their current business. So I do offer business coaching, and we talk about PPP loan, different loan options, the abuse of the PPP loan, where people misrepresented information to get these funding. And it has made it very difficult because during that time period, a lot of the stringent requirements for documentation were not in place. So you can put in an application, and because of the push to get the money out so fast, the government did not do their due diligence in a lot of areas to vet some of these applications. But now that things have subsided with the pandemic, they're now going back and looking at some of these information, and they're noticing discrepancies. And then they're now reaching out to companies and say, hey, or business owners and say, hey, you told me you had 10 employees, but when we check, you only have 2. Or you said that your annual earning was a certain amount because the money that was given out was based on your overall annual earnings. You said that you earned $2.5 million, but you only earned $150,000. So now people are a little bit more apprehensive because they are afraid that they may do something wrong. And this is where we ask you to consult a professional. You can consult a professional CPA, someone who can look at your finances to make sure that you're not making any missteps. The second thing is sometimes we try to do too much on our own, and we're not experts in some areas. So we need to consult an expert, someone who knows the ins and outs so that they can help guide us. We don't know it all. Watching a YouTube video and think you have it all figured out, what you don't in business, what you don't know will hurt you.
Will hurt you. That's right.
Yeah.
It's the fine print, it's the lack of knowledge, and it's the expectation of a microwave process that can really do harm today. So yeah, on that note, we're going to jump right back into your presentation.
So with the small business loan, you need to have your business plan ready. You need to have your finances lined up, all your W-2s, your tax filing, and you need to know where your credit is. If you don't know where your credit is, you're setting yourself up for failure. Why is that important? Because if your business is not generating enough income to qualify based on your revenue, then they will then look at you to see your income and to see what your credit score is. So you may need to do some cleanup there, work on your credit score, get it cleaned up before you even approach a bank to look for to put in an application for a business loan.
Would you help us maybe in recommending what would be the best credit service to go to for credit repair? There are a lot of people that offer credit repair online, but there's a lot of lack of understanding for which one of these institutions are really about helping to repair credit. At the end of the day, we understand that it takes money and you're going to have to buy into and pay. We understand that. However, there are some institutions who are, it's just a money grab and they're not really helping. They're prolonging the process to ensure that you're spending money to help them fix it. It could have taken, in some people's cases, 12 months, but here we are, the 4th and 5th year into a credit repair company. So what is a viable timetable for someone who doesn't have a lot of outstanding loans or a lot of outstanding debt and in general doesn't have a great debt? Is there a timetable? I don't have the expertise, so I'm coming to you.
Okay. And unfortunately, this is an area that I'm not an expert in when it comes to credit repair. Some things that I do know I will share. Goes back to either you're going to spend time or you're going to spend money. Either you're going to spend money by working with an agency or you're going to do the work yourself. You can do the work yourself by partnering with some firms and some organizations that banks work with. I can tell you the name of one company that does provide mentorship to business owners that if they need to get some things done financially, get their credit cleaned up, they can provide you with guidance. But again, you will have to do the groundwork, meaning you have to call the debt collection agency, you have to negotiate, you have to write letters to ask them to remove things off your credit report, because sometimes things are on your credit report that should have been removed, but if you don't reach out, it's going to linger on there. So Score is a really good company. They are in business to help small business owners in some of these key areas. If you have a legal plan, for example, Hyatt Legal, or another big one is called Legal Shield. These are two reputable companies that I know of, Moraes Inlex, that people can reach out to. They have attorneys to review their credit report, write letters to credit agencies. But some of the work you will have to do on your own, or you can pay someone to do it. But if you're a business owner, try to save as much money as you can and understand the process in just reaching out to the holder of the debt and ask them what is required, ask them to remove it, explain your situation to them that you're not able to pay financially. Can they write it off? There are a few ways to go about it, but reputable companies that I know that do provide advice is Legal Shield and Hyatt Legal.
Thank you very much for that. We're going to take a quick commercial break. I'm going to ask that everyone like, share, and subscribe. Also, family, don't forget to support the platform via any donations that you may have the ability to help us out with. Also, do keep in mind that we have online classes weekly at patreon.com/Learn Torah. And you can find all of the information as it pertains to our classes live on that website. When we come back, we expect that we're going to go deeper into the PowerPoint presentation, as well as looking forward to a Q&A at the end from people in the chat room who may have the possibility to either join the live stream or will take your questions from the live chat. All right, we'll be right back, everyone.
Caribbean kitchen food, where the spices dance. From jerky curry, give your dishes a chance. Oh, seasoning so vibrant, like a tropical breeze. Oh, for the finest flavors, it's a culinary tease. Oh, still of the sunshine in every single bite. Caribbean kitchen food, more flavors are just right. With every pinch and sprinkle, the journey will begin to the islands of delight. Oh, 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 oh.
All right. We are back, and this has been a marvelous presentation so far. It's a gem. And I just want to talk to the community briefly for a couple of moments and just kind of say something. In these online spheres, videos go viral when there's contention, right? Videos go viral because someone is exposed. Videos go viral because someone is at odds. Someone lost money. Someone gained a lot of money. Where is the viral presence for information that empowers us? Because if you notice, there's a trend that if there's a topic that's controversial, these airwaves on YouTube, they're flooded. The chat is flooded. The people who are attending are flooded. When there's information of empowerment that may involve pulling up your bootstrap and going to work yourself, people don't show up. So I say that to say this: don't be afraid to embrace what may be your future now destiny, which will and does entail that you will have to work, but the benefits far exceed the blood, sweat, and tears that you will put into it. And that's my disclaimer. It's on you, my brother.
All right. We can get back to the slides. So we have the small business loan again. This means you're taking on debt. You have to evaluate whether or not you are able to pay this debt back if your business does not generate the amount of revenue you need to pay the debt back. So you need a backup plan. You can go to the next slide. Crowdfunding. So this has been an interesting model that some people have utilized, and it's similar to what we see out there, like a GoFundMe, where there are different platforms that allow business owners to do a campaign to raise funds. Some of you may have heard of Kickstarter. That is a huge one. But even with that, you have to have everything viable. You have to have everything in place before you even go this route. So again, this is an opportunity for those who want to do crowdfunding. Then you have equity crowdfunding or debt crowdfunding based on your business model. But crowdfunding is another way to do it. We've all seen the GoFundMe campaigns, and there are various campaigns geared towards starting a business, running your business, or taking your business to the next level. A lot of new up and coming business have done well doing Kickstarter fundraisers.
Okay.
Next slide. All right. Grants and subsidies. So this is where we're going to spend some time to talk about grant writing, different options that are available to you as a business owner when it comes to obtaining a grant. And once we are done with this slide, I'm going to talk to you a bit. I have some slides that are separate about grant writing one-on-one, what it is and what it is not. So when it comes to grants and subsidies, you'll hear quite often, oh, there's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of grant money out there. Oh, you gotta tap in. Common phrase, you got to tap in. And if you're not careful on Facebook, even with some of these groups that are geared towards networking, and some are geared towards minority owned business, some are geared towards quote unquote black only business. And you'll see people pop in, oh, there's a new grant for $75,000, or there's a $120,000 grant, or there's a $50,000 grant. And while that may be true, you have to understand the eligibility criterias to even apply for those grants. So the whole concept of grants is not as if it's Halloween night and people are putting candy outside for anyone to just come and take it. That's not the way grant works. You have to qualify. So everything that we've talked about up until this point is pivotal in positioning you to qualify to apply for grants that you are eligible for. Those are two key words that you should remember when you think about grants: qualification and eligibility. You can have one and not the other, and you don't get the grant. So you need both. You can be qualified, but if you're not eligible for the grant, you can put in an application and you will get rejected. You could be eligible, but if you do not qualify, the same thing can happen. So just to share that, and we can move to the next slide. We're going to do a deeper dive on just grants in general. All right. So you can take down the slides, Maury, and then I'll just kind of talk through what I have on my end to do a deeper dive into grant writing one-on-one. So before, applying for a grant, it's essential to have several key elements in place to ensure that your application is strong. So that's why we took the time to walk through some of the key elements that you want. And I know people, again, this microwave, just get to the end. Just who watches a movie and says, just show me the ending scene? We have to go through the process. So you want to make sure that you have a few key things to make sure that your application is strong, that you're competitive, because you are competing against others in the grant space. Again, it's not like Halloween where people are just passing out candies. A grant for you, a grant for you. There you go. You get a grant and you get the grant. No, you have to apply and you have to qualify. And sometimes there are various rounds of qualification, and there are things that are required while going through the qualification process. So one of the things that you must have is a clear objective. What are you going to use these people's money for? You're applying to get a grant to start up your daycare or to start up your after-school program. You need a clear plan. How am I going to use this money? Yes, you have the business, so that makes you eligible. But now you need to qualify why you need these people's money. They want to know specifically, how are you going to use the money? Are you going to buy a Benz or a Bentley or Mercedes with the grant money? Because some people, that's what they think about when they think about grant, to spend it on themselves. No, the grantor will want to know, how do you plan to spend the money? Then you have to ensure that you have a budget. Once you get this money, how is it going to be delegated and over what time? So those are some key things that you need to ensure that you have in place, a plan on how you're going to spend the money. Are you going to spend it on operations? Are you going to spend it on advertising? Or are you going to spend it to hire new people? And I'm going to tell you that a lot of grants for the minority community has to do with making the community better in some way, shape, or form. And one of the challenges that our community face is a high unemployment rate. So if you're looking for a grant that will allow you to hire more people, that puts you in a really, really, really good position. Most grants that are given is to provide assistance in solving a problem, whether communal or environmental. So those are things to consider. So a lot of writing is involved with a grant, and I may do a workshop. This is a point. If you're interested in hearing more of what I'm presenting here, if you'd like to be a part of a workshop, I will work to schedule something. Again, we hold true to our creed. We took the oath as young as we were in Jamaica that before God and all mankind, we pledge love and loyalty of our heart to ensure that we help our people. So if you find this helpful and you want more, please let me know. We can set up something, a workshop to kind of walk you through some of the deeper information that you need. But in terms of having the type of tools to write, because this is the major gap right now, Maurice and Alex. A lot of people know what they want, but they just don't know the right tools or have the right vehicle to get them there. With the advent of AI, there are a lot of tools that grant writers are now leveraging to help them be more efficient. Some of these tools you have access to. Again, when it comes to business, you're going to need to spend time or money. It may cost you a small amount to get some of the tools that grant writers are using versus you paying a grant writer up front to write the grant for you. Because some of them they're using the same tool.
That's right.
So in terms of writing, you'll need to position your proposal in a persuasive way. Again, being honest, not embellishing why you need this money. They need to see the passion, the drive, the enthusiasm come true, represented in the documentation that you are providing. If you're providing a solution for the community, add in some testimonials. They need to see your track record of working in this area, the impact that you've already made to validate why they should give you this grant money.
Can you, for a moment, talk to us about the power, as it were, of honesty and transparency? And I'll set it up by giving you an experience. I happen to know a lot of people that are well off in the entertainment industry. And there's someone that I do talk to in the sports arena. Well, there's several sports people that I mentor, but there's a particular person that I was speaking to not too long ago that told me that because of someone's dishonesty, they missed out an opportunity, to get 7 and 8 figures from that person. And this is what happened. And so there's a guy, and because it's personal, I'm not going to say names. There's a guy that has a business, but it's doing horrible. But on social media, he promotes it as if it's the most successful thing, and he's already making 7 to 8 figures. He just so happens to have reach with this celebrity. They can touch each other. But because he has put it out there that he doesn't really need help, because he has everything, the celebrity had recently freed up some of his own money and was about to invest. But because this person continued the facade of already having, he lost out on the opportunity, and this celebrity took his money and invested it in something else. So please, if you can, because there's a lot of people out here that fit this bill, talk to us about the power of honesty and transparency, because you might miss your blessing acting and playing as if you already got it.
Yep. It's a good old adage, oversell and underdeliver. A lot of people do so much to sell themselves, to sell their product, and it is not what it is. When you pull back the curtain, you see things that you're like, okay, this is a horror show. This is Nightmare on Elm Street. This is not looking good. So when it comes to honesty and transparency, it is key. It is pivotal. It goes to the core of not just your business, but to who you are. As a business owner, it's incumbent upon you to operate with the highest level of ethics. Because if you prove to be someone who is untrustworthy, people will not do business with you. You will lose out on business. So your character have to be in line. And when we talk about self-awareness, this is why it's so important. And I'm not talking about it in a mystical way. Once you become self-aware, you understand who you are, you understand in whose image you are made, you realize that you have a higher standard to live up to. So letting people know exactly where you are and what you have going on is key. Don't try to fudge it. Don't try to embellish it. Don't try to pretty it up, because the way that things work in the grand scheme of things, you can only keep up an act for so long. We're just living in a different time period. And when people begin to see that you're dishonest, that you're not trustworthy, it damages your image, it damages your reputation, and word will spread. And people will begin to talk, and you'll begin to lose business. Once you lose credibility, you will lose business. People believe more in you than they believe in your product.
Mm.
And if they can't believe in you, they will lose belief in your product. Again, we can talk about some of these things because it's public, but more so because of who we are, and we know who we are. The standard we have to live up to, whatever is done in the dark will eventually come to light. So we think we can hide stuff from people, put this facade on, but the creator has a way of exposing certain things. And we sometimes have an opportunity to get it right, to make sure that we get ourselves in a position to be ethical, to operate on a level of honesty and transparency. I'll just give you all a story real quick. We have our clearance sale that we're doing, and people, they were asking, why are your products in clearance? I said, we're clearing out our product because they're about to reach the end of their life cycle, and we want people to know that, and that's why they're getting it at such a discount. I spoke with someone the other day, Maurice Alex, and the person told me, say, so Jamaican season expire, just wipe off the expiration date. I said within myself, that would be dishonest of me to misrepresent the shelf life of a product because I want to make money. Now, if someone has an adverse reaction to it,
That's right. Come
and
on.
they look at it and there's no expiration date, the Food and Drug Administration, the Florida Agricultural Food Management Organization can open an investigation against me. And if they find that I remove the date, not making my customers aware that the products have expired or when they will expire, I could be in deep, deep trouble. My whole operation can get shut down.
And it's not worth it because,
It's
as you
not worth
said, integrity, honesty, transparency, character.
Yeah.
That is what ensures longevity.
Yes, absolutely right. Absolutely right. All right. So doing a little bit more in terms of what is needed from a grant writing one-on-one. So your application should demonstrate how the project will continue to sustain itself after you've received the money. So grant writers understand certain things, and grantors understand certain things. They want to give you a grant that after the money's over, your business can sustain itself. Other than that, you're going to be back to square one. So that's major. If you're looking for a bailout, make sure that you have a plan so that when that money runs out, your business is still able to stand. Unfortunately, a lot of our people, they get grant money and they spend it on themselves and not their business. So when they go back to the table, the grantors ask about your history of receiving grants and how did you use those grant funds.
That's right.
So stewardship is very, very important. And I know the temptation that some of us face because we want to show people we're doing good. We want to show the people who said it wasn't going to work that it did work. Look at me.
That's right.
So we have to ensure that we take some of these steps. Another thing that we must be cognizant of are grant specific requirements. So ensure that you understand and can meet any specific requirement by the grantor. One of the things that I learned, and again, this is why we have to cherish the journey. And again, being honest, I applied for a grant, and one of the questions they asked, am I a minority owned business? I said, yes. I thought that would be good. They said, do you have a minority owned business certificate? Dropping a gem here. You can get one for free through your state, providing that you meet the requirements and you can prove that you're a minority owned business. That puts you in a better position when you apply for certain grants that target minorities.
Look at that. Look at that. I mean, again, this live stream is so beneficial because YouTube tells us that if you watch 50 videos, you know everything. Well, I've watched well over 300 videos, I'm sure, on this general topic, and I've never heard that. So please do continue, and thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another thing to know about the grant writing process, it's not a one size fits all, and depends on what entity you're applying with, what language you need to use. So if you, and this is what some of the things that grant writers know, if you're applying for a government-based grant, the language you use in your letter or your request may be different than if you're applying for a grant through a small business, because some small businesses do have grants. So you have to tailor your language based on your audience. It's not a one size fits all. So again, having that understanding and knowing the tools to use, because you have to position your argument in a certain way that it appeals to the grantor. So you can't just use some of these plug and play templates that they provide you once you watch a YouTube video and they say, subscribe to our channel and we'll send you a grant writing template. It's not that simple. It's not that simple. There is an internal approval process that organizations follow. And also, when you think about the type of business you're in, you have to get very specific information about your type of business, and you may need to research companies that have given grant to the type of business that you're in to target those type of organizations. It's not just throwing out there to a million companies and see what sticks. You have to find companies that historically have given grants to your type of business. So that's also important to know. Timing. Grants are not available. Some grants are only available at some time during certain time periods. So some grants are available in January, some are available in February, March. So you have to know the timing. And once you understand the timing, you can schedule when you will apply for these grants. Some grants, I
gotta stop you for a moment, and my apologies, because what you're saying is too vast to just vicariously skip over. So I'm gonna stay in this question for a moment and this answer that you're given. In my online classes where we teach Torah, we talk about the Bible having what we call auspicious times, which are favorable times for going into a venture, favorable times for offering prayer, depending upon what type of prayer that you're offering and what type of venture you're seeking, right? What I never heard is that there are auspicious times in business when it comes to seeking a grant. So really, really pause for a moment and explain that to us, because a lot of people don't know that applying for a grant or writing a grant at a time which may not be favorable is going to hurt them. So please make that crystal clear for us and rewind and come again and let us know that time matters. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So organizations look at their budget and they determine how much they can allocate, for a grant. So some companies do it based on their fiscal year versus what we look at in terms of a 12-month period where the Gregorian year starts in January. Some companies, their fiscal year starts in February. For some, it's in March. And that's when they look at their budget and determine how much they can allocate for a grant. And then they contact various agencies and platforms to notify them that they're now taking applications for grants. I'm going to drop this right here for those of you who are listening. There is a company called Hello Alice. Yes, like Alice in Wonderland, and their emblem is a white rabbit, literally. But this is a platform that houses different type of grants, and they'll tell you when it's the timing to apply for certain grants. Also, if you sign up, again, I'm dropping some gems here. If you sign up with grants.gov and you put in your business specifics, they will alert you when the time has come that certain grants are available. So different companies make grants available at different times. From what I have seen, so this is my subjective experience, most grants are available in the first and second quarter of each year. They have some that you can apply for in the third and fourth quarter, but the majority of the grants that I have seen are available in the first and the second quarter, which would be the favorable season to position yourself to apply for grants.
And just to be clear, around what time period is the first quarter beginning and ending versus the second quarter? Because people are afraid to admit their ignorance. And then that's why we're here to clarify things. Like even when you say fiscal year, everyone doesn't know that that's the beginning or end of a governmental year. So, you know, definitions matter. And again, some people are too prideful to admit that I didn't understand that.
Yeah. So the first quarter is January, February, and March. That's Q1. And April, May, and June, that's the second quarter of the year. So from a business standpoint, you see Q1 and Q2. Q1 is the first 3 months, and then Q2 is the second 3 months. Although it says quarter, it's 3 months. Then when it comes to a business, oftentimes a business will determine their financial year, which differs from the beginning of the Gregorian year, which is January 1st. So we're thinking about January 1st. They're thinking January 15th or February 15th or March 15th or any variation, because some of it is based on when the business was started, and also from an accounting standpoint, when they do a full reconciliation of their books from a business standpoint. They look at their income statement, they look at their profit loss statement, they do their financial reporting. So another key term here, financial reporting. There are certain times a year you're required to do your financial reporting, and a company that can help you with that, again, I'm dropping a lot of free information here, incfile.com. As a matter of fact, if you want to start your business and you don't want to do the paperwork yourself, incfile.com. I'm not getting paid. This is not an endorsement. I'm just sharing where you can get some of these resources. They will help you put together your financial documents for you to file with your local state. So mind you, you're doing your taxes from a federal standpoint, but then you have financial documents you need to provide your state with, and Incfile can help you with that.
Thank you for that. I mean, there's a lot of thoughts and ideas that are coming to mind. One of the thoughts that come to mind is we do represent a religious and spiritual community. And so there's always people who are wondering, how does one, if even this is even possible, how does one take advantage of grants that are afforded to a religious-based community, right? There's grants that say, well, you follow Torah and you're part of the Jewish people, and we have grants for you, and you follow the Bible, and we're all Christians and we love you and we have grants for you. So how does the religious sector, the spiritual community, become more aware of grants that are tailored towards their religious views? Are there such grants, and how viable are those grants in real time?
So with the very little experience I have looking at some of those grants, because the majority of what I look at are business grants, some of what I've seen with some of those grants, it's more geared towards sustainability. ensuring that the religious institution has some financial support to sustain itself. So they'll give a grant, but even with that, the institution will have to qualify for those grants. I will do some research on the back end to get some specific information on some of those agencies that assist. What I do have information that I can share here today are agencies that we can look at that provide grant opportunities to minorities, women, veterans, African Americans, people of color, and other demographics. So that's a takeaway for me, Morris and Lex. I will look into that.
All right, I definitely appreciate that. Now, as we bring this to a slow wrap, I want to ask if there's anybody in the chat that would like to join the live stream and ask a question. I'm going to take a link. Our brother, CEO, and coach Vaughn Parker does not have that much time left, everyone. We're going to go on. What we're going to say now is a 15-minute max. So you have 15 minutes before the live stream is done. Therefore, we have about 10 minutes of interaction because the last 5 minutes will be Vaughn Parker closing the show, the last 5 minutes. So we have 15 minutes left, which is about 10 minutes of interaction from our audience. So if anyone has any questions that you would like to ask live, you can. Please do, but make sure we see your face if you're going to come on the live stream. If not, you can ask it in the chat section and I'll pin your comment. As we're waiting for them to do that, I'm just trying to think really quick for myself. What are some of the questions that I even may want to ask? And so on the tax end of having a business, how important is it in documenting all of the payments that are made to said business? Because there's a lot of people that really don't know how to own or operate a business, and they have multiple bank accounts and they're purchasing this and purchasing that, but there's no real lead towards the LLC, the C Corp or the S Corp or whatever you have to say that we can trace all the money that you're spending that belongs to the business. In other words, people haven't built enough business acumen to know that you have to differentiate your accounts. The business account is a business account. You can't come to the taxman at the end of the year and say, this personal account I was also using for business, when you have a business account, because he might tell you that doesn't apply. So just talk to us briefly as we're waiting for people to either ask questions or join the live stream about the importance of knowing how to correctly organize the monies that you're spending throughout the year towards the business versus your personal expenses and how that might affect your taxes.
Yeah. So commingling, that's a no-no in business. You cannot commingle your personal account with your business account. So first of all, you need a business account exclusively for business expenses. If you're going to take money out of your personal account to use for your business, you need to send that money to your business account. So it shows as an incoming credit. So when you think about balancing the books, you have credits and debits. Credit is what's coming in, debits are what's going out. The tool that I would recommend that I use, and again, drop in free information here, QuickBooks. QuickBooks is able to integrate with several different platforms. So if you have a business on Etsy, if you have a business and if you're selling on Etsy, you're selling on eBay, you're selling on Amazon, you're selling on Walmart, you're selling on WooCommerce, you can plug all that information into QuickBooks, and QuickBooks will be able to track some of that. I know some people use PayPal. I do not encourage PayPal as a primary accounting system. You need an accounting system that when you export what you did for the year, you can see what came in, what went out, and that is what you take to your CPA. If you're able to prepare your taxes yourself, kudos on you. But I recommend using the CPA, and some CPAs, they have access to QuickBooks, so you don't even have to go in. They just log in, download the information, and they're able to see what's going out and what's coming in. Everything needs to be tracked. One of the pitfalls is sometimes it's a matter of dollars and cents that is the deciding factor whether or not you owe the IRS or the IRS owes you. You could mess
Appreciate that.
around and spend out of the wrong account or did not properly document it, and you cross over that threshold where you have to pay the IRS versus you not paying or the IRS giving you a return. So that's why it's very important to document everything.
I have a question from Sister Rebecca. She says, is there any of this that I shouldn't do as one who plans to do little to no business outside the Israelite and conscious community? When you say this, Sister Rebecca, could you be a little bit more specific in the comments? Just to make sure that his response is tailored perfectly towards what you're asking. I'll restate your question. She says, is there any of this that I shouldn't do as one who plans to do little to no business outside the Israelite and conscious community? You're better than me. I'm a little confused as to how to address that.
I think I would need clarification as well.
Yeah.
So let me just share this with our community. I know that there's a level of apprehension at times in terms of how much we want, quote unquote, the oppressor to be all up in our business and what we're doing. I advise everyone to do your best to be in compliance to where no one can have an occasion against you. Although we want to serve our community and we do not see the relevance of getting certain things in place to appease the system that we're in, we have to remember that we're still in their system. And if it comes down to something going down where one of our Israelite brother or sister gets hurt or harmed or something go wrong, because we're still in this country, it can be investigated. And if you're found liable, you could find yourself on the wrong side of the law.
All right. I appreciate that. So we're gonna close and wrap this here. This has been an excellent presentation. I learned a lot. I certainly will be going back and playing this video. I'll even be sharing clips from the video curtailing various aspects of your business acumen that you shared with us. I want to thank you for coming here and doing this with us, because most people say, hey, if it don't make money, it don't make sense. And you didn't say that. You said, you know what? This is a void. It needs to be filled. If I can give some of my time to help, then here it is. But this is also the opportunity where people can see that you have the business sense, the business acumen, and that which it clearly takes to run the business. You have degrees in this area, MBA at that. So we trust you. And now we ask, how do we get in touch with you as it pertains to the part of your business where you're actually coaching and helping people to make better decisions and be involved in taking their business to the next level? How do we get in touch with you?
So you can email me at procoachvp@gmail.com. That's procoachvp@gmail.com. And I will respond to you accordingly. Again, want to possibly set up a workshop. I do have more information on grant writing, for example, the available grants to minorities, where you can go to see these grants to get more insight. Also have information on some of the strategies you can use to get plugged in. So in my closing, Morris and Lex, when it comes to business, you're going to need two key things. You're going to need a mentor, and you're going to need a network. A mentor is someone who will coach you, encourage you, motivate you, challenge you, which a lot of us don't want to be challenged, but a coach will challenge you, a mentor will challenge you. They're able to leverage their experience to provide you with some guidance. There's a level of humility there that will be required on our part to listen to someone else. Then you'll need a network, a group of people who are doing things similar to what you're doing, that you can bounce ideas off, you can share insights with, you can talk with, to vent, to gain new ideas, gain new perspectives. I'll drop this one last one right here, Moray. In terms of your network, you can check out Alignable. It's an online application, website, web portal. Check out Alignable. These are business people in your area. Also, if you're doing business, please sign up with your local chambers of commerce. In business, sometimes it's not what you know, but it's who you know. And with that, I yield, Moray.
And with that, it's been a pleasure to have you once again. We look forward to you coming back. Every time that you come here, you make it a great and amazing space for us to learn in humility and in truth. On that note, he gave his information. If anyone needs any further information, you can contact me as well, and I will certainly put you in contact with him. Keep in mind to remember his closing words. He does have a workshop. So make sure the information that he shared here as it pertains how to contact him, you make sure you come to this part of the video, the end of the video, where you can see all of his information. All right. I'm pretty sure he will also come back on the YouTube and input it as a comment so that you guys can get to it. On that note, everybody, thank you all for participating. Thanks to all of our moderators. Thanks to our sister Hadara that was here earlier, otherwise known as Hadassah. Our sister Ya Asantiwa, daughter of Zion. Leslie Fields, thank you so much, Ima. Moray Ariel, I see you. Our brother Royal Prince, Sankofa, sister Rebecca, Scott, and everyone that participated in today's live stream with comments. Stanley Fields as well. Thank you, community. We are signing off. Peace. Shalom.
Caribbean Kitchen Foods offer 7 unique blends of premium, low-sodium Jamaican seasoning that will add a burst of flavor to your dishes. Our authentic, all-natural Jamaican seasonings are a game changer when it comes to adding a burst of flavor to your dishes. Our products are kosher, all-natural, contains ingredients that are gluten-free and GMO-free. Our seasonings are handcrafted with the highest quality ingredients. We source our ingredients from the Caribbean to capture the authentic taste of the islands. Unleash your creativity in the kitchen and savor the taste of the Caribbean with our spice blends.
Caribbean kitchen foods, they're the spice and sense. From jerky curry, give your dishes a chance. Oh, seasoning so vibrant, like a tropical breeze. Whoa, for the finest flavors, it's a culinary tease. Whoa, stay with the sunshine in every single bite. Caribbean kitchen foods, more flavors are just right. With every pinch and sprinkle, a journey will begin.